It's actually a really good garlic bread. Garlic bread is my favorite food. I could honestly eat it for every meal. Or just eat it all the time without even stopping.
You get fat.
No, why would I get fat?
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
Hello and welcome to the Movie Mouthfuls podcast, a movie podcast with zero table manners. Each episode we'll be tucking into movies and the odd television show to chow down on some of the most iconic cinematic cuisine scenes in cinema history, as well as just about everything else we can get our hands on. And oh boy, are we taking liberties this week. As with all previous episodes, my name is Jordan. I'm the bloke trying to be known as the film fella online, and as per bloody usual, I'm joined by the UK's #1 competitive eater of food. Just let's reiterate, it's food, okay? Beard meets food!
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good evening, good afternoon. Hello.
I thought it would be formal for a change.
Oh, right, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, normally I just kind of...
Well, I'd straighten up, but I've mics down here.
You told me we've had a substantial uplift in the amount of people listening to this ridiculous podcast.
Yeah,
so
it's
I
weird.
suppose
Some weirdo on internet mentioned us for like 10 seconds.
Do you have a beard?
Yeah, I think so.
Oddly
yeah.
handsome
in
a weird way.
Something about waiting for his mate as well. Like I've got apparently I've gone up in the world apparently, but
I should have said associate.
Just waiting for my business associates to turn up for our radio broadcast. So finally we've gone from 13 listeners to apparently well over 160 of you that keep coming back for more according to the analytics that I've got. I'm not sure why.
Must be something wrong with you.
I've got no idea. But yeah, thanks guys. We managed to hit the lofty heights of the top 8 in the entirety of the UK on Apple Podcasts for TV and film.
That does sound pretty good. That sounds better than when you say 130 listeners.
Yeah,
if you say number 8 in some kind of chart.
Well, we're up to 2k odd downloads already, and we were nowhere near that before that strange bloke on the internet mentioned it. So yeah, thanks for joining us. I hope that we don't suddenly lose you all during this.
You never know. To echo a line from the film we're going to discuss today, I always knew that I personally rocked, but I did not know that we rocked as a unit. And now we have confirmation.
Yes, indeed. And as I mentioned before, obviously you'll have heard the intro to this episode. Hopefully you'll have clicked on it because you like said film as well, or you want to know more about said film before we get into that. We are kind of milking it a little bit, but again, blaming our good other mate on YouTube that, we'll keep calling him as mate until he is one day our friend, hopefully. Binging with Babish did
or
a garlic bread one.
Files a restraining order or some kind of litigatory.
Look, if he can do a video to 10 million people that's a 17-second clip about garlic bread, we can surely talk about it for at least an hour or just under.
If anyone's qualified to talk about garlic bread, 17-second scene or no, then it's me.
I thought you were going to say it's Mrs. Beard.
I literally wrote a song about garlic bread. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of the soft reason we're doing this, just so you can keep plugging the garlic bread song every now and again. I haven't got the jingle of it in the. I didn't know if we get
I'll do it a cappella near the end if you stick around long enough.
I should have got a written confirmation from you that we could use it, just in case we get in a legal battle with you over using it. You sue your own podcast. So yeah, what film are we doing this week? In case people have just clicked and haven't decided to read for some reason.
Well, today we are doing Scott Pilgrim versus the world.
Sounds epic.
The world's kind of condensed into 7 people, but figuratively the world.
So with that being said, and the fact that we are severely milking this episode and we probably should get on with it, thanks for everyone that's joined, as we've said, and let's jump into our general film chit-chat.
Is it time for the big heavy metal breakdown?
Indeed it is.
Heavy metal, man!
You live for that, don't you?
I shouted a little bit there. I probably killed the levels, but yeah, I love it. It hits me deeper every week, right in the thorax.
Lee's just deep in your soul with these chuggy riffs.
I want to meet Lee one day. One day, I'll meet the guy.
We'll have to maybe do a guest episode, see if we can drag him on. We need to get another mic first, so
you can take over for me for an episode. We didn't apologise that we missed a week, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah. Before we
I'm not taking the blame this time.
And,
I did propose an alternative day, but yeah, I have been away. So
we'll make it up to you hopefully in this episode and future ones.
Indeed.
So, as is tradition, we're on episode 9 now, so we're nearly at a full 10 episodes of this podcast. Do you want to tell folks what Scott Pilgrim versus the World is, if for any reason this film has passed them by?
Yeah, well, I hope it hasn't passed you by. It did pass a lot of people by, though. It wasn't a box office banger, but I mean, I think that's personally a mistake. Anyway, I'll do the blurb because you always make a hash of it and go on for like 15 minutes. So, Scott Pilgrim versus the World is a comedy, kind of action comedy, comic book adaptation. It's a bit of a mashup of a number of genres, but yeah, it's about Scott Pilgrim, as the name suggests, who's a neurotic slacker, average musician. So I feel kind of a kinship with him there. He's 22, so he's, if not at uni, I get the feeling he's probably recently left uni, or college as they would call it out there.
It's like when you first met me.
Yeah. Lives in Toronto, which is a very nice city. Hoping to be going back there very soon, actually. And he lives in what's basically a bedsit with his gay friend. I mentioned the fact that he's gay because they make a very big point of this in the film, draw attention to his sexuality for some reason. I'm not sure why. And he starts dating a Chinese Catholic high school chick, for which he gets a lot of flack from his mates because he's an older guy, obviously. And he meets this absolute worldie in Ramona Flowers, who he kind of falls in love with. Breaks up with his, I don't want to give the whole plot away, but breaks up with his newish girlfriend, but then must defeat 7 evil exes in order to date Ramona Flowers. And that's all set against the backdrop of his band competing in a Battle of the Bands contest to presumably win some kind of recording contract. And I pretty much think I basically nailed it there. I don't think I could have done any
just
more
shut everything down and walk out and leave.
Yeah, that's it. Go watch it.
100% go watch it, because this is an absolutely fantastic film, and as Beard touched on there,
You can really, but at this point you can call me Adam. It feels a bit weird that you call me Beard every time.
Beard, Adam, thingy, oi, you, like it'll digress at something. It'll end up being something terrible eventually. Anyway, what I was getting at is that the budget for this was $60 to $85 million. So it's not a huge budget, but it's an okay. There's a lot of CG in this film. They
squeezed a lot out of that budget.
Squeezed a lot because it's very, very, very good. But sadly, it only made around $49 million. So it's considered a box office flop. Came out in 2010, directed by an absolutely fantastic director, if anyone is aware, Edgar Wright.
I love Edgar Wright.
He's brilliant. Like, I think us Brits all sort of absolutely adore him as a filmmaker anyway, but in
Not
general,
just because he's British.
Well, obviously he's a very talented man, but I think there is a very Britishness about a lot of his films. Apparently,
A very Britishness.
well, there is, isn't there? Like the Cornetto trilogy is obviously all set with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and it's all sort of in UK specific locations. And you've got Baby Driver, which he's done more recently, which is an American one. This was, I think, one of his first films that he did where he was casting Americans, and apparently he didn't want a single British person to audition for it, but the guy who plays the first Evil X actually managed to trick him. So that's one of the facts that I've got. Like, they actually did the audition.
Pretended he was not British.
London. He was from London in the end. So he did it in an interview later saying, oh, well, I'm actually from London. Oh. So he managed to slip through the net.
Fakey.
But I mean, it works. The film still works. And yeah, he's got a new film coming out soon, Last Night in Soho. So Edgar Wright, I'm a big, big fan. And this film just showcases that he could definitely do like an actual superhero film. It was meant to do the Ant-Man film.
What is it with you and superhero movies, man?
It's my niche, isn't it? It's my niche or my niche, depending on... I prefer niche, but some people say
the
niche,
good thing about... I get the feeling we'll probably get into discussing more of Edgar Wright's cinematography.
It's called the Cornetto trilogy for a reason. We could do all three.
Yeah, as we go along. But what's good about his stuff is it's very kinetic. That's the word I'd use to describe it. There's a lot going on, lots of camera shaking and stuff. Really cool if you're into kind of filmmaking of any level, from home movies, not those kinds of home movies.
Scene transitions are really, really good in this film as well. Like how he changes from one scene to the next. And I mean, the cast. I'll let you start if you want. Like this cast is pretty spot on. It's pretty bang on.
Man. They looked out with this. Michael Cera.
At his peak of his sort of powers as well, Michael Cera.
You said that about kind of flipping.
It's what, everyone's got a peak, can't they?
He's probably still in his prime. What is he like? He's probably my age.
No, but I mean, like in terms of his cinematic, like he's not really.
He was just in a lot of films back then.
He did Arrested Development, and then he got into all the
fresh
films.
Off the back of Superbad and all that shit.
Yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Hubba Hubba.
Yep.
I don't want to sound like too much of a creep, but Kieran Culkin,
Yep.
the probably arguably more established Culkin brother now.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Evans, basically playing Clint Eastwood from start to finish for some reason. Brie Larson, Aubrey Plaza. I don't know who else. I'm missing someone.
Did you say Anna Kendrick?
I didn't. Brendan Routh.
Yes, Brandon Routh. Bill Hader is the narrator as well.
Thomas Jane. From Punisher.
Yeah,
How
and
could we forget that?
Nelson Franklin, who's in some more sitcom stuff as well.
You know what I did? But I mean, it's a little early for a tangent. And
It's
pointless
never too early for a tangent on this podcast. Fire away.
I was going to say pointless observations are normally your area of expertise.
Hey.
But what I did think when I was watching this now, I mean, I've seen this probably about 12 times because I love the film, but I noticed, I was thinking, you know what, how many of these people actually, it's kind of ironic that they either went on to or were already in superhero films, because of course Scott Pilgrim is a comic book, well, it's a graphic novel aimed really at adults, by Brendan Lee O'Malley.
Brian Lee O'Malley.
Brian Lee O'Malley. I knew it was something O'Malley. I thought it was wicked because you got like Chris Evans, who was...
It was literally the year after he became Captain... Sorry, this was a year before, and then a year after he became Captain America, yeah.
Prior to that, though, he was a Human Torch.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Thomas Jane was in Punisher, I mentioned that. Brie Larson is
now Captain Marvel,
Captain Marvel. Am I missing any?
So Mary Elizabeth Winstead now plays the Huntress in the DCEU. She was in Birds of Prey, which we might do at some stage because there is a significant food scene in that.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. She was also John McClane's daughter, which probably makes her somewhat superheroic.
Yeah.
So just a sidebar.
Oh, no, Brandon Routh, obviously the big one, is Superman Returns, all the CW shows that should have finished about 6 seasons ago.
The soggy Superman. He didn't really do well in that
No,
film.
he was supposed to be a continuation, wasn't he, of the originals, Christopher Reeves. That was supposed to be still Christopher Reeves' Superman. See, this is my niche. I know this stuff.
Right, okay.
It's meant to be... obviously, you can't have him anymore. It was... Brandon Routh was meant to play the same.
Well, because he looked like him, or...?
Well, they tried to make him look a bit like him, didn't they? But, yeah.
I suppose they did, yeah.
It's a bit of a soggy film.
Anyway, in conclusion of this particular section, yes, the cast is very good and kind of preeminent. They were. I think that you got them at the right time, didn't you? The casting,
yeah.
Because they were all kind of just like, I don't even think Aubrey Plaza had done
Parks and Rec.
And I'm not making out like I'm a huge fan of that. But
great show.
I do like it, but I've never really given it the full.
Plenty of food in that, and we do mention at the beginning of this about food on TV. So
yeah,
we will
I
one
know.
day head to Ron Swanson levels of
fully
meat
aware.
consumption.
Mostly I just like the Ron Swanson stuff, but
it's where all the food's at, man.
Yeah. Man.
You touched upon about Brian Lee O'Malley. So this film is based... So Scott Pilgrim is a graphic novel, and he's a Canadian cartoonist, which is why it's all set in Canada. I know you know all this. It's for the listeners, obviously. 6 of the books were made between 2004 and 2010, and the title comes from the second book.
Yeah, I did know that, yeah.
All of the books are like sort of touched upon in the film.
Don't try to school me on graphic novels. So
I
did my second dissertation on graphic novels.
Here he is.
At Masters. You can get it out at any good library if you want to request it. There's only 2 copies.
What's a library? No, I'm kidding. say some of our fans maybe. I don't know. Shrug. Do you want some facts?
Go on then, because I specifically avoided any real trivia about this film because I know you get like aroused at the very notion of telling me things I don't know. So go on.
Well, you were talking about Chris Evans and his superhero-iness.
Yeah, Chris Evans. He talks like that this entire movie. He talks like this all the time.
Lucas Lee.
Lucas Lee, yeah.
It's fantastic, brilliant. His stunt doubles for Lucas Lee are actually all Chris Evans' stunt doubles, and only a quarter of the doubles actually resemble Evans.
Wait a second. In what, like in all of his films?
Yeah, it must be, yeah. According to
who in God's name needs 7 stunt doubles?
Chris Evans.
Well, I thought it was a joke because they get progressively less. Even the main one doesn't really look like him.
But maybe you don't have all 7 on set normally. Maybe 2 of your other stunt doubles are stunt doubling for someone else, or they're doing something, and you just get a couple of them. I don't know.
I've lost a little bit of respect for him there. Tom Cruise does it all himself. Breaks his ankles doing Mission Impossible 7 or whatever.
You can't lose any respect for Chris Evans. He's a great man.
No, he's and especially in this film. he's just, I know the reason he did this. They didn't think he was going to going to want the part. I think they considered the guy's going to be Batman. I've forgotten his name now. Robert Pattinson.
All right.
But they asked Chris Evans, and he said, "Yeah, I love Edgar Wright. Let's just do it."
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty cool, because he was. I don't want to say he's like an A-lister then or whatever, but he's kind of. He was definitely.
He's like an up and coming sensation. I mean, he still is. Like he's not up and coming. He is a sensation now. But
if they'd read that part to me though, and they just basically said you're going to take the piss out of yourself from start to finish, you get to. Can I do a voice like this all the time? Yeah, sure you can. Then yeah, why not do it? But
I personally love when he is first introduced. Obviously, the scene of it, like he's first properly introduced on TV as he's walking out of the flat, and he's like his mate is watching the film, like the marathon or whatever, and he's probably cheesy, stupid, like Die Hard, but cranked up to like 11 levels of dialogue in that scene. I can't remember what he says. He's on the phone to someone. It's just stupid. But when you first see him. And through this film, like you were saying, the way Edgar Wright uses like transitions, different camera angles, the pacing, the kinetic energy, like sounds, all of how he sort of makes the film. He uses the Universal Studios intro when he comes out of his trailer.
They do like an 8-bit
at the
version,
beginning. So the beginning of it, Edgar Wright's brother created that. So at the beginning of the film, you get like an 8-bit or a 32-bit or whatever bit you want to call it.
8 bits just like it's not, but it's 8 bits kind of when you create the 8-bit sound from old video games.
Yeah,
they do the
for the Universal.
Yeah. The Universal Sound slogan thing.
And then when he comes out of his trailer, you get the regular version, but just as he's like walking across the lot, like just not even paying attention to like anyone. Like he's the most dialed, again, to use the phrase, dialed up to 11, like
he plays. We haven't even really mentioned. We've done that thing where we just dive into it again.
Yeah.
He plays
one
of. Yeah, I know. He plays one of Ramona Flowers, who is the central love interest of Scott Pilgrim, one of her evil ex-boyfriends.
Yeah.
And it happens. That's revealed as you go through the film because the character that Chris Evans plays is like a movie star. And he's mentioned, as Jordan says earlier in the film, it shows Scott and watching one of his movies on TV. And then later in the film, they appear at one of the movies that he's filming, and that's when the big showdown actually happens.
Which it's one of the shortest, but also one of the most entertaining when he just dares him to do. Like I won't explain. Like obviously, if you haven't watched this film, which some people might not have done, we really recommend that you do. But his defeat, shall we say? Because you imagine there is an arc where Scott obviously has to get through all these 7. It's interesting. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, if you can suspend your disbelief that Michael Cera could beat Chris Evans in a fight for but a moment, it's quite funny.
I mean, one of the facts that I've got is that he doesn't actually defeat any of the other ones, really. Maybe the final one, but the first one he does by himself. Everyone else sort of helps him for every single other one.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
One of the things that you touched upon, so like part of this is like the Battle of the Bands stuff, and their interestingly named band is Sex Bob a Bomb or whatever.
You know what a Bob Bomb is?
No, I don't actually.
Oh, this is where I take you to school, boy.
Go on.
A Bob Bomb is the bomb from Super Mario.
Is that what it is?
They're called Bob Bombs, yeah.
Right, that makes sense.
Bob Bomb.
I'm not. Like I do play Mario, but not to the extent where I would know.
He comes with this big suite of facts. He whips out his like
I'm a Sonic the Hedgehog
doomsday
guy.
book of trivia, and
I'm a Sonic guy, bro.
Nah, not for me. It was always Mario.
All about them rings. So the 4 cast members for their band had to spend several weeks learning how to play all of the instruments. However, they were all learning to play from scratch. Michael Cera is actually quite an established bass player, so he had to dumb down his bass playing so that he didn't outshine the rest of them.
If you can play bass, Sid Vicious could play bass guitar. Let's not make that into a legitimate instrument at the risk of offending bass players.
Well, one of my little segues is that I've actually seen Michael Cera live in a band. So Belgrave Music Hall in Leeds.
He was there?
Yeah. So he played with a guy called Alden Penner and the Unicorns. He was like he went on tour with them, but he wasn't like part of the band. It was just like he was like he's friends with them, so he went on tour. I'm sorry, Michael Cera, if you ever listen to this.
Sure, he won't.
Yeah, well, you never know. You never know. But it wasn't great. I didn't rate
On account of Michael Cera or on account of the rest of the band?
Yeah, I kind of went because he was there, and me and my mate were like, "Oh, this is gonna be really cool." And it was a sold out show. It was like 15 quid. Got in there. You've been at Belgrave before. It's a really nice venue in Leeds, a bit hipstery. Got in there, and just a bit hipstery. We got in there, and he started singing, and because of how
Oh, he sings?
Well, he was like singing, but like quite high pitched, and there was like the other guy.
What do you think he's going to be, a fucking baritone or something?
No, but I
the
thought
dude
he was
weighs about
going to be
7
playing.
stone.
But I thought he was going to play like bass or like play. He was playing instruments, but he was also singing as well. I thought the other guy was going to do the music, and he was just part of the band a little bit.
Oh, so you didn't think Michael Cera would sing?
No, and it just kind of. I was like, I spent 15 minutes in there, took a quick video to say, "Oh, I've seen Michael Cera live," and then we left and went and got pissed up.
He sings pretty well in Superbad. You know when they get him in that room in the back. The hurting's on me, yeah.
He kind of has to, doesn't he? Otherwise, they're gonna
they're gonna kill him or something. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my my closest connection to Michael Cera I've had.
Speaking, have we got time for? Well, not really.
We've got plenty of time, man.
A diversion, but since we're talking about music, how good is the soundtrack for this?
It's brilliant.
It's pretty cool. You got Beachwood Sparks doing the Sade song, By Your Side. Think I'll leave your side, baby. You know me better than that.
All he wants to do. He's gonna just transition into serenading me for the rest of the
Well,
episode.
I'm quite. We've been recording what feels like about 20 minutes now, and I haven't even broke into the garlic bread song yet.
I was mentioned
so you
it.
could count your lucky stars.
Bing! We should have got like a little bell, like the garlic bed, the garlic bell. Sounds disgusting, actually.
Did you know that garlic bell? Less said about that. I'm not that
let's move
smelly.
away from that one.
Did you know, by the way? I'm dropping the trivia this week. That one of the bands on the soundtrack is a band called Metric,
Right.
And the character that Brie Larson plays, who's his evil, who's Michael Scott Pilgrim's evil ex-girlfriend.
His ex that sent him.
She's now in like a famous rock band. She's based on a caricature of the lead singer of that band, Metric.
Right.
And they used one of Metric's songs for Brie Larson's character's band when they play Battle of the Bands.
Right.
And they re-recorded a version with Brie Larson singing, and I think she sounds better than the original singer.
Oh wow, that's painful, isn't it? If you're there,
I know.
I didn't know that. That's check you out rolling in with the facts, but you are an avid fan of this film, so I would expect no less. You kind of have to.
You're welcome.
I also found it to do with Brie Larson that for this film, the way that she talks in it is quite sort of sexual.
I had that semi the whole time. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you know what I mean? There is a very let's not beat around the bush. There's a very porn star-esque way that she talks on purpose in the film because obviously she's playing this.
She's supposed to be like an uber. She's like what you used to want, right? She's like a traditionally attractive, kind of like uber sexy blonde bombshell.
Yeah.
So she speaks a little bit like a Marilyn Monroe from she really gives it a lot of juice.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Well, she got that from she attended the Adult Film Awards. Just to see. I see if she attended it or she watched it.
Is that the excuse? I just went just to see.
She watched it and she apparently took inspiration from any of the female, we'll say, actresses, stars, whatever, who went up. The way that they sort of presented the speeches and how they carried themselves. So that's what she then took and used as part of her character. She never read like Scott Pilgrim as a graphic novel or anything. She just wanted to be in a film. Like you said, with Chris Evans, wanted to be a part of a Edgar Wright film. So she jumped at it. But that was her sort of getting into character, I guess, and picking out how she was going to be in it. And
it must be great though if you're a legitimate, serious actor, and you get to go into a film where they just say, "Just be a dick," for essentially the whole film, and you can do like a real kind of
hearing Bradley Cooper somewhere.
Not that kind of dick. But
Too
it must be fun to go in there and just essentially play a caricature. It doesn't have to be anything serious about what you're doing. I suppose the hard part of that would be if you are the actor, you can't really. I would make myself laugh if I was trying to play what you're saying. Essentially, she's trying to be a porn star.
Yeah,
you'd kind of laugh at that.
I'd be in my own head the whole time. I just wouldn't be able to like get a sentence out. But for them to be able to switch off and be able to do it is pretty impressive. One of the other facts that I've got, so apparently the concept of Scott Pilgrim, according to Brian Lee O'Malley, is around two premises. Did you know anything about why?
No,
he
I'm
made
still
Scott
actually
Pilgrim?
wounded that I got his name wrong. I said Brendan.
So he made it on the idea of what if, after a life of playing fighting games, someone confronted you and you actually had the ability to fight like a Street Fighter character. So that's premise one. And the second concept is that when he was dating his now wife, Hope Larson, he learned that she had dated 3 different guys, also named Matthew. So O'Malley came up with the idea of a League of Matthews. This idea developed into the League of Evil X's in the film, and Matthew Patel is the only Evil X. That's the guy we were mentioning earlier. That's the secret naughty Londoner that's managed to get into this film.
Yeah.
That he's the only one that he's kept as a Matthew, just as a reference to that.
It would be a bit weird if they were all called Matthew,
Yeah.
especially the girl.
Yeah, maybe she just got a thing for Matthews. Like, I don't know. That's a bit of a weird.
I suppose it'd be easy though, because you wouldn't have to ever, like, if you had distant friends, you wouldn't really have to tell them you change boyfriend.
I was thinking more if she wasn't quite into him first couple of dates and then ended up saying Matthew in certain places. Kind of get away with that a little bit. Oh yes, Matthew. Oh yeah. Oh, never know. Okay, I'll keep some of these other facts in case we go past them. But is there what else you want to talk about? Because we were kind of, in the general sense of this film is just like a homage to, like you were saying, the bombs, like the Mario stuff. It's like a homage to like video games as well, isn't it? It's just brilliant, the amount of comic booky video game stuff you get in this.
At the risk of kind of being over dramatic and over analytical, this isn't really a film if you think about it in many ways, because it's a total kind of stylistic mashup of film, comic books, kind of nerdy subculture.
And you get a Seinfeld transition at one point.
Yeah.
Like...
And it's the whole the annotations and stuff. So when he beats people in a fight, you get kind of like boss battle so like,
level up, multipliers.
When he kills, I'm saying it. When he kills, or when Chris Evans' character meets his demise, you see it distantly, kind of on the horizon, because he bails out of a really long, grindy thingy, as I think Scott Pilgrim calls it, because he's a skater as well. But you see like an explosion, and then like a 3,000. I think it says 3,000, like a score.
And he gets coins as well.
Yeah, and when he's killing people, there's no bloodbath. There's just they evaporate into a cloud of coins, which is ruthless sellout bandmates then collect near the end.
There's actually part of that stylistic sort of way of Edgar Wright making this film. You know the swearing where Aubrey Plaza's character's just like it's really direct, and obviously all the swears are bleeped because she's clearly effing it and jeffing it all the way through. So it actually puts the black box, but there's a point where he actually goes, "What's that in front of your mouth?" And she like references it, but she swears at him again, so it comes up again. But apparently that was done because as it's a 15, you can only say "fuck" once.
Yeah, that's weird, don't you think?
And because I don't know if they actually used it, but what I'd read somewhere is because he says to one of the characters we're going to actually talk about, one of the evil X's, he calls him a cocky cock before he starts his fight with him. Yeah. Apparently calling him a cock is fine, but calling him a cocky cock, the word cock is classed as a swear in like the American sort of, how they police this stuff. So censorship. Yeah. So they couldn't actually use any of those F words anyway.
Yeah.
And that's why they did that as a stylistic choice, which works anyway because it's funny.
I just thought, the movie's that old now, 11 years.
Yeah.
Came out in 2010.
Yeah.
That I thought, can I nick this for if I ever swear in a video?
Yeah.
Because I censor stuff now, but it's not quite as cool as the way they do it in the film.
This is where you like rip, innit? You haven't dropped one yet, but maybe. I swear, not like fart.
I actually did a little, like 3 minutes in, but you didn't notice.
No. I thought it might have been the food item that I brought this week, which we'll get onto in a second, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, like the video game stuff. Apparently, Edgar Wright had to ask Nintendo for like the most heavily sort of prevalent noise is that you can hear in it are from Zelda.
Yeah.
So like most of them, it's like the chest opening up stuff and all that kind of stuff. So he had to ask for it, and he called the Zelda sound effects the nursery rhyme of his generation. But then they also use like Sega stuff as well, because it's like the Street Fighter things. There's a couple of Sonic in the nightclub where she's fighting one of her exes, where she helps him. All of the sound effects are like redubbed like Sonic like with music. I just love it. I think it's a brilliant idea.
It sounds, the way we're talking about it makes it sound terrible, but it's executed so well.
Yes,
that it's not. I saw a few of the at the time. Actually, I remember it being critically. It was generally favorably reviewed, but there were a lot of kind of prevalent film critics that said it was bad, and a lot of them were kind of using this this idea that because it's. I remember one of them saying you get the feeling that Scott Pilgrim can't die. It could just rewind, and you start again like a video game.
Yeah, but they don't get it.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's
it.
the whole point. Is that it's supposed to be. Not only is it inspired by like video game culture and alternative music and stuff like that, it occupies this universe in which that's what makes it entertaining. You know, it's no less believable than Fast and Furious 12 or whatever. They're not jumping between the Burj Khalifa, put it that way. Just
no.
You're killing people and they dissolve into coins.
Which is more realistic, I'd say. Right, okay, I think that's potentially enough waffle. I mean, before we jump into the actual food scene, there is, it's not really a food, but we've mentioned drinks before. So there is a bit to do with tea in this. Just thought I'd get your say before we jump into the main scene, which is very short, which is why we're beating around the bush. So yeah, Ramona Flowers, they go around to her house when he first starts dating her.
Yeah.
And she offers him tea, but basically you've got blueberry, raspberry, ginseng, sleepy time, apparently. Green tea with lemon, which is, I'm sure you've probably used maybe in the past with your gym going.
I've been drinking peach flavour, allegedly peach flavoured green tea quite a lot. Well, not so much this week, but last week when I had a week off and I had to just get my shit together because I'd eaten too much. Started to gain a little weight. I basically didn't eat much at all. Probably I ate like 3,000 calories for the whole week.
Wow.
But I drank a lot of peach green tea. It was green tea that smelled a bit like pop.
I always find that it smells like it when they mix green tea with something, but it doesn't actually taste like it. Because they've got like green tea with lemon and honey, which is meant to be good if you've got bad throat. One called Liver Disaster, which I'm a bit worried about. Ginger with honey, which I've had before. Ginger without honey. Vanilla almond. White truffle, which sounds quite interesting. Blueberry, chamomile, vanilla walnut, and one that says constant comment and Earl Grey. To which Scott replies, "Did you make some of those up?" Because a few of them do sound a bit made up. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw it in there. There's not really anything to. I don't know. Do you want to talk about tea for a second?
I mean, I think it's just support the plot devices that just makes her out to be a bit of a free spirit. She's single-minded. She's a bit different to people, right?
Alternative.
Yeah, well, yeah.
As the kids say.
She's got what? I mean, as if you didn't know this, she's got like pink hair, then blue hair, and green hair.
Yeah. She apparently is also based on some of the princesses from Zelda. Apparently.
Did you know? I mean, we keep going off on tangents here. I'm not going to stop.
Tangent.
Did you know that Robin Williams, rest his soul, his daughter was named Zelda after Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, she did that advert, didn't she?
Did she?
Even not long after he'd passed, or I can't remember whether he was in it or whether it was after he passed. A few years later, she did a Nintendo advert, like advertising like a Nintendo DS with a Zelda game. It was like Zelda playing Zelda.
I didn't know that. I just knew the fact about it being called Zelda.
Yeah, I think I found out about that around the time he passed.
How fucking good was it? Did you ever play Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, a little bit as a kid, but I think I was a bit too young to get it.
I love that, man. Like, you jump on the horse, you go around, you beat shit out of Ganondorf at the end.
Throwing chickens around. Yeah. It's about my level at that point. I was a bit young. I still need to. This is going to be quite bad for anyone. I've got a Nintendo Switch, but I haven't played Breath of the Wild yet, so I need to get that. I've been trying to.
You're far too old to have a Nintendo Switch. Those things are marketed like fucking 6-year-olds.
It's got Zelda on it,
and
get a grip. Game in it. And with that, we will move to the first food scene. A bit hurt by that comment. I still play video games. I'm like Scott Pilgrim. I've got a PS5. I've got a Nintendo Switch.
I'm talking about I mean, you can play a little Xbox maybe. I just feel like Nintendo's that's marketed towards kids, man.
Bit of Smash Bros. It's a classic game.
Smash Bros. That sounds like
you ever played
something else.
Come on, you must have played something. The fighting game where it's like you can be Mario or Zelda or Pikachu or like any Nintendo character, and it's like super competitive. There's like leagues and people win stupid amounts of money in like Japan and stuff.
Mate, I barely have time to touch myself at night. I'm so busy these days. So no, I don't play this game.
Oh dear. Right, well, if you hadn't have guessed by the intro, we are talking about that very, very short, it's actually 17 seconds, believe it or not, famous movie scene.
It's an enduring line, though.
It is, because it's all over Reddit. There's memes of it.
Yeah.
There's slowed down versions of it on video. There's bits where it slows down his like final reaction to it. There's people that have like gone off and like I've seen Reddit forums where people have gone, "Does garlic bread really make you fat?" And then everyone's been talking about like it's created this whole way. Like there's quite a lot in Scott Pilgrim that's gone off into its own little thing, hasn't it, on the internet? Like because you can, like you were saying, because the way that it's put together. There's loads of little bits that you can pull out of it, and there's loads of memes and GIFs, and like you can go to town on like looking for a GIF for Scott Pilgrim if you wanted to. But this scene, it's just well orchestrated. It's awkward in the sense because he's trying to have that like first date night and trying to impress her, and he makes like of all the things that he's going to make, he makes a garlic bread because it's his favourite food in the entire world.
Man, he would have had Mrs. Beard tied up if he'd done that with her.
Making it from scratch as well. I mean, look, guys. It's been a few weeks. If any of you new listeners have heard that we have had food on the podcast, sometimes we can't obtain said food, but I have managed to get, because obviously it's garlic bread. If we do it, like, did you hear that?
Did you need to slam it on the desk?
Yeah, well, it's just for it's ASMR is all.
It's a dramatic effect.
It's still quite warm. I've done pretty well with this, so it's just a bit of tinfoil there. So we've got some garlic bread, and unfortunately, Beard will not be partaking in the garlic bread.
I'm fasting. There's nothing more hectic sounding than foil, though. That is not ASMR. That's like the opposite.
Do you not? It sounds. You could imagine it's like a Five Guys wrapper or something.
No.
I mean, we're talking garlic bread. So Beard's not seen the garlic bread of choice, but I think Scott Pilgrim would have made something very similar to this particular garlic bread.
He would have made focaccia garlic bread.
Yeah,
impress.
I think so. Because it's impressive, isn't it? It's not like this. Other supermarket chains are available, but this is a be good to yourself Sainsbury's.
You love Sainsbury's, don't you? You feel like
it's
a little treat when you go in there. You're going to upgrade to Waitrose one day.
I had to nip in, get some stuff for me cats, and then I was like, I'm going to nip into Sainsbury's because Pet Shop's next door, and I'll get my garlic bread there.
Yeah,
we're going to cook it here, but I've cooked it. I've pre-cooked it.
The film fella's got a collection of bonnets. He puts bonnets on his cat. He's got many of them. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, it looks like good garlic bread.
Yeah, it's got a bit of thyme on it, some nice garlic butter. I will have a slice in a minute, but we'll just talk about we'll talk about garlic bread for a bit. So Beard, being the expert on all things food, will garlic bread make you fat?
No, actually, this did make me I've got a bit of a thing for Ramona Flowers, I think, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Who actually, me and I don't want to sound like some kind of lecherous old man, but Lindsay and I we were talking about, we got a little drunk in Liverpool a few weeks ago, and we were talking about, like, when you have those lists, like if you meet a famous person, like your partner, your life partner is allowed to give you a pass to spend one night of passion.
I'm terrified if my missus ever sees Tom Holland, I'm screwed.
Yeah. Well, you could give her a pass, right? So I think in my top 5, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in there, but she would probably have to be like in full costume and stuff. Anyway, what I was trying to get at is I'm a little disappointed though, because she perpetuates the myth of carbohydrates being bad. Garlic bread will make you fat. Nope. What will make you fat is eating in a consistent chronic calorie surplus, not carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your body's preferred energy source. Nothing wrong with garlic bread. Just enjoy it in moderation. Garlic bread.
Is that how you end any facts that you ever give about garlic bread has to end with that?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, in that case, I mean, I'll partake. It's a bit soggy because obviously I had to transport it here from my abode to Beard HQ. So
it looks nice. To say it's soggy,
you can live vicariously through me, Beard. So I'm
enjoying the smell. Get nice and close to the mic, man.
Can you hear that? Some mouth sounds. Yummy garlic bread, as we all say when we eat this garlic bread here in Yorkshire.
It looked a bit like you were eating a towel. Then it's not stood. It looked all right, but when you bit into it, the consistency
it's quite warm. I maybe could have done with crisping up a little bit more in the oven. I will partake in some more. I'll probably wait until Beard goes off on a tangent and you'll just hear me chewing away on some garlic bread. But yeah, I imagine that is quite similar. I mean, obviously I've bought it from a package and chucked it in the oven for like 12 minutes, but I'm sure our man Scott would have made fantastic. I mean, you have to. It's Ramona Flowers. You have to.
I don't think he doesn't look like he's got his shit together enough to make garlic bread from scratch. He's probably just got, knowing him, he's probably just ordered some decent garlic bread and passed it off as his own.
I don't know. You can see him chopping up like some garlic.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, when he's talking to Wallace before he leaves, he looks like he's crushing some garlic. You see how much we're stretching this scene out just for its intended purpose on the podcast.
Well, it's really at this point more of a film podcast than food.
Yeah, I mean, look, by the way, before someone like comes at us on Twitter, one of our newfound friends, and says, "I can't believe you're not doing Godfather or something like that, or something a bit more iconic and like broody and the big food scene," we've got to do some of these. These exist. They exist. Other people have done them. We have to.
Any film in which food is consumed is going to be discussed at some point. On this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to have to. At least in some, even this being 17 seconds, it's still got some dialogue around it. It's not like we're just.
Plus, it's garlic bread.
And yeah, I mean,
I think I'm in love with the girl who likes garlic bread.
We're going to get some full on acapella. We're going to get sued by your set. It's some sort of things.
It's alright. Me and if we're going to be sued by anyone, it'd be by Mystery Jets, who wrote the original, and I'm tight with
Did you get permission for that?
What's his name? Blake. Blaine? Fuck, I forgot.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, I dropped him a message.
It
It turned out he watched my videos. He's like, "Yeah, man, I love your videos, but go nuts and cover it." And I thought, that's incredible. I remember being like 22, pissed out of my skull, Fab Cafe, dancing around like some kind of apoplectic T-Rex, arms flailing all over the place to that song. And then, 10 years later, he's let me use it.
Destroying it for garlic bread.
Yeah. It was on Radio 1. Fuck you.
And moving on. I mean, we can kind of talk a little bit, I guess, about his date. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, just to round this scene out? Because we've kind of beaten garlic bread to death.
I feel like
speaking
of date,
I'm just gonna have a munch on. I'm gonna pretend I'm on the date. You can keep telling people about.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the funniest parts I think of this film is how he actually convinces Ramona Flowers, who's, by the way, massively out of his league.
100%.
It plays on that in the film, but Scott Pilgrim is like the most awkward, I suppose, non-confident person on planet Earth. He somehow manages to charm Ramona Flowers into.
We were saying this off air, weren't we? That he's just somehow. Magic. Sorry, I'm trying not to give too many mouth sounds. I'm sort of fading in and out here, but he manages to pull just people that they are out of his league.
He's got a right bag of worldies, man. Yeah. Brie Larson on the one, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I don't know who that Kelly Wong is it?
Yeah, I think yeah. I'll double check while you keep talking.
Man, he's got it made. Are you just gonna stop podcasting now and eat garlic bread? You're done with the driving force, and you just sat back there like a fat ass eating your garlic bread.
Ellen Wong, who plays Knives Chow, who was the 17-year-old, the high school girlfriend that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, you couldn't, man. Can you just like get your game face on here? I'm not watching you. I'm not coming here to watch you eat garlic bread.
I brought some food with me. I've not had any tea. I was just
yeah, but also his date is appalling. Isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like
not great.
They go walking in the snow. Obviously they're in Canada. It's freezing cold, and Ramona remarks on it being like, I don't know, -12 in the middle of April.
Yeah, because she's American, as is pointed out earlier on in the film.
Yeah, which made me. They mentioned that a few times. It made me think of that song by 1975 called "She's American."
No, I've listened to him, but not that much to know.
It's a great song. It's a funky tune, but and then it comes back and. Somehow his nerdy charm manages to get her in bed, although they don't actually perform coitus.
He doesn't feel coitus. Sorry, sir.
A bit scientific. I didn't want to say that. They
didn't bang, didn't?
Yeah, they didn't go to Blast Town.
Blast Town. Yeah, I can't believe you went from coitus to Blast Town.
There's probably a middle ground. They didn't make love. They didn't do. They didn't know have
the beast with two backs next or something like that from you. Yeah, he doesn't do that in the entire film. Actually, come to think of it,
isn't it implied that they kind of get it on a bit near the end?
Yeah. I think it's severely implied.
They probably did at some point. You'd like to think so.
Also, there's like that comment about him because he's come out, because there's that whole thing about like he's come out of that Brie Larson relationship. And it's Bill Hader does like I mentioned before, as the narrator in this at times. Like he's in the cast listing, it's The Voice apparently.
Like that awful TV show. with Tom Jones.
Not like the awful TV show. Thank God. He basically, like every time he says something to her, his internal monologue says something completely different. It's Bill Hader, but it's on about the fact that he's not confident on the date or whatever. He hadn't had a haircut for ages, and it's because since he broke up, well, she broke up with him. Because like he says he broke up with her, but his internal monologue goes, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Like contradicts him at every turn.
It was a mutual thing. It wasn't.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're all good now. Then once it says, no, it was brutal. It was brutal.
But that is basically the scene. So 17 seconds of the now infamous, you heard it at the beginning of this podcast. I'm not going to go through it, but the bread makes you fat comment.
Honestly, I love garlic bread. I could eat it forever. But you get fat. Why would I get fat? Bread makes you fat. Bread makes you fat.
That's pretty much it. He's just done the full thing again. I could have clicked it again if I wanted to, but
just thinking, some people might skip the clip at the beginning.
Why would you do that? That's the best part of our entire podcast.
The only good part of it.
Right, so we talk about one other scene that we'd forgotten about until we actually both met up and we're about to record this podcast. And we're like, you know what, we should probably talk about that one because it does mention a very, very prevalent part of food culture, I guess, in, modern society at the moment. Should we do that? You know what I'm talking about. You're lost.
No, I was thinking about eating the garlic bread like you were, but yeah, no, go ahead.
It's slowly getting tempted into coming out of the fast for a slice of garlic bread, is that what it is? Right, we'll move on to the next bit and then we'll wrap this up. Freeze! Vegan police!
You're under arrest for veganity violation 22.
Actually, it's code number 827.
Right.
Imbibing of half and half. That's bull raw, apparently, according to Todd Ingram, who is played by Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
Just this. There isn't really any. Well, there's the half and half, but there isn't actually any food in this scene. But I was talking to one of my friends earlier, John Wall. Hi, honey, if he does listen. He.
You were on familiar terms. You called him honey.
No, his musician
honey.
name is Hi Honey. So I had him on my previous podcast. So I was just saying, I wasn't just going Hi Honey, but you know,
it sounded like that's what you did.
I know. I saw as soon as I said it, I was like, he doesn't know what I'm doing here. But I don't think he listens anyway. But if he does, we were messaging earlier. He's obsessed. He can quote this film. He's one of those people that can quote like any film, like comedies, like early 2000s stuff. He can just line by line. Bill and Ted, for example.
Like a useless Rain Man.
Yes, for weird Euro Trip, Bill and Ted, that kind of stuff. And he just kept sending me quotes from this scene. He was like, "Do this one," because my friend is actually a vegetarian, so he's kind of close to this. Yeah, no, beard meats food. It's kind of implied, isn't it? But the quote of gelato isn't vegan. It's milk and eggs, bitch.
Should we give some context to this scene?
Yes, go on. You do the context. I'm going to chew on this last bit of garlic bread.
I thought you might be, man. You're making your way through that like
soggy,
man thinks it's a garlic bread eating contest or something. Yeah, so let me do a quick recap of because it's my fault. We tend, no, it's not my fault. It's your fault. We ramble a lot through these things. At this point in the film, Scott has defeated most of the evil exes in fights and stuff, video game style fights. And he comes across one played by Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh.
You enjoying that still, yeah?
Yeah, it's in my mouth.
Yeah.
Brandon Routh. He's not in my mouth. The garlic bread is.
Just to clarify.
Correct, yeah.
We don't have him like tied up like some kind of gimp at Beard HQ, forcing him to do things.
Pulp Fiction was first episode with Gimp.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a super powered. They get progressively, like bosses in video games, they get progressively harder to beat. And he's kind of super powered because he's a vegan, which is I think a hilarious bit of social critique from the bloke that wrote the comic, because he plays off on the fact that vegans think they're better than everyone, right?
It's like he got in really early with that joke as well, because I didn't. Ask me back in 2010 what a vegan was or what a vegan was, I probably wouldn't have been able to give you as accurate an answer as I do now.
Yeah. But anyway, he's like super powered. He can shoot fucking lasers from his eyes and stuff. He's
got psychic powers.
Yeah, they just give him a bunch of superpowers, right? But so he's kicking Scott's ass, right? This is the hardest battle he's had so far, because the guy's vegan superpowered, and the way that Scott tricks him is to put half and half, which is I don't know why they call it this.
Is it semi-skimmed?
It's a mixture of
cream?
Heavy cream and skimmed milk, I think. Like, why the fuck
would
would you
make
here? I don't think so. Well, I mean, why would you? It's pointless.
Yeah, it's straight. Yeah,
Either
weird.
go with the cream or go with the semi-skimmed. You wouldn't want like all the calories of the cream and then a little bit of the non-flavor
Maybe
of
it just
semi-skimmed milk.
sounds diety, I guess.
Anyway, whatever it is, it's an animal byproduct. Yeah, he drinks it, and then the vegan police smash through the wall. The main vegan cop is played by Thomas Jane of Punisher fame. That wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did. You look like you're having some kind of intestinal issues now. I've eaten too much garlic bread.
Yeah, it's repeating on me, but
Oh
you
my,
keep
it was
going.
Like too slack, Jesus. So yeah, they revoke his vegan superpowers while making a couple of jokes about veganism. Yeah,
He asks, doesn't he, during this encounter, it's like, it's my only offence. Don't I get 3 strikes? By the way, this is coming from IMDb, I'm not Rain Man. To which the vegan police officer goes, take it, and tells the other vegan police officer to sort of write him up on the other past, demeanours that he's had.
misdemeanors.
Yeah, misdemeanors even. So on his notepad he whips out, it's 12:47 on February 1st, you knowingly ingested gelato, to which Todd Ingram goes, gelato isn't vegan, which, as I mentioned a minute ago...
eggs, bitch!
Yep, and then still reading on April 4th, which is my birthday, by the way. Hint, hint. 7:30 p.m. You partook in a plate of chicken parmesan, and everyone gasps like around it.
Chicken's not vegan.
Yeah, but it's like a proper feeble, like he knows it's.
He knows the gig.
Yeah.
The jig is up.
Yeah. And he's been done for the half and half. Before that, he has the bass off, doesn't he, as well, because he's the bass player of Scott's ex's band
Called the Clash at Demon Head.
Yeah,
Which I thought was a strange name for a band. It
Yeah.
sounds like a live LP of a Clash gig. Like
Yeah, it does.
Demon Head was the place.
Yeah.
The Clash were playing.
Yeah, it does.
Sadly, it's not.
There's the other line as well where Scott's asking him when people these days are like act as if veganism is like, I mean, I'd find it difficult because I'm a bit shit with eating me veg and stuff, so I'd probably wither and die more than they already look, according to you, as you keep ribbing me. So if I didn't eat like meat or any carbs, I'd be kind of screwed, or any like animal byproduct or whatever. So Scott turns around to him and goes, "You're kidding? Anyone can be vegan." To which Todd replies, "Ovo lacto vegetarian, maybe." And everyone's like, "What? Ovo what?" So his reply is, "I partake not in the meat, nor the breast milk, nor the ovum of any creature with a face."
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, like just
He gets
chill.
a bit biblical though, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
he just-
Partake of the not of
just-
the
Considering that he's got like zero intelligence, really, because it's highlighted by the fact that he smacks the highlights out of Knives Chow. He like bitch slaps her when she's just like ogling over Scott's ex.
yeah.
Like
Says he has no-
like a fan sort of thing.
Proudly proclaims that he would have no problem hitting a girl, not unlike Bradley Cooper from Burnt a few weeks ago.
yeah, was it? We're developing a theme. See.
Yeah.
Just a really great scene, and I thought you might have bashed vegans a bit more on this. Than
No,
you
well,
have
you know
done.
what I would say when people ask me about veganism, and I get the feeling if people listen, they're probably wondering. I actually have no issue with veganism. The problem I have with it, if you'll allow me the indulgence for a minute or two,
go right ahead.
is that I could, to be honest, like when I'm not shooting videos and stuff, the majority of the time I really don't eat much meat. I eat a lot of fish, to be fair,
Yeah.
which doesn't make me a vegan or anything. What does that make you, a pescatarian?
Pescatarian, yeah.
But like I could totally go vegetarian easily, because it would still allow you kind of animal byproducts, milk, dairy, stuff like that. I probably could go vegan. I wouldn't want it because I enjoy meat, right? But I could, and it wouldn't be at the detriment of my health because I know enough about nutrition to pick up the spares. The problem I have with veganism is people look at it as like it's healthier than like a normal omnivorous diet. It's not, because most people who don't, like me, meticulously track all their food and consumption of things, people that just have day-to-day jobs and stuff, I'm getting on my soapbox here, they're going to be going at like Greg's and shit like that, or they're just going to be picking stuff up on the go. And it's great that, places like KFC and stuff offer vegan alternatives now, but they're going to be shit. And most vegans I know are what you call, quotes, junk food vegans. So they'll be eating fucking Oreos just because they're vegan. Mm-hmm. So I don't like this narrative that veganism makes you healthier. Ideally, in an ideal world, it should make you eat more fruits and vegetables, which can only be a good thing. But do not make the assumption that it is universally good, because meats and animal byproducts have a lot of good things in there for you, which most people need. And if you omit them from your diet, then you're going to be in big trouble if you don't know what you're doing with supplementation.
Wow.
Knowledge bomb. I just get on my soapbox about veganism.
I was going to say, so like in short, basically what you're suggesting is that people on, following a vegan diet, not all, but we're not saying all of you if there's any fans, but what you're saying is some people may be missing out on vital nutrients that they could be getting, or they can still do it by being a vegan. It's just that some people might not be meticulous in checking.
Yeah, you need to do your research, man. What you could be missing out on. And even think about just not kind of micronutrients. Think about macronutrients, like where you're getting your protein from. If you're a vegan, if you do any kind of performance activity like exercise or anything like that, play a sport, you need to repair. You need protein for repair. Where do you get it from? I'm not saying you can't get it, but a lot of people, might be pricing themselves out. But if I'm not, I really don't. I might make a couple of jibes about vegans just for a bit of a laugh on my videos. But if you do it for moral reasons, ethical reasons, I've no problem with that. Just make sure you know what you're doing. We got all serious then.
Yeah, wow. I mean, we have kind of stretched out a 17-second clip about garlic bread into a full episode, so I had to prod you into a soapbox type speech.
Speaking of, while we're on the topic of, I slightly mentioned exercise there. One factoid that I did, a little bit of trivia for you. That this is apparently a direct quote from Brie Larson. Let me see if I can whip it out here. Because
the quote, I hope.
Yeah. Yes, the quote. Where did I get it? Here it is, yeah. So, Michael Cera committed to working out for the part so that the fight scenes would seem more realistic. This earned him the nickname on set, the Push-Up King, because of how muscular he became.
Wow.
Which, I mean, I'm not criticizing Michael Cera, don't get me wrong, but he makes me look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The dude must weigh like 6 stone wet through. He's got arms a bit smaller than yours. Yours are like a wet cooked pot noodle.
Lovely. Thanks for that. I can't wait for the fucking comments that we get from back of that. Cheers, pal. I've been working out. I've been working out. I've got a PT. I do gyms.
Oh, right.
I do gyms too,
If you say so. But I thought it's a good commitment that he thought he would work out for the part, but it doesn't really show much. I love his hair in this. He bashes his own hair a lot in this film, but I love it. I wish I had that kind of texture in my hair. Mine's like really straight. Anyway, what are we talking about?
So we were talking about vegans, and then you started talking about hair. I mean, the other food, this isn't part of that scene, but just to mention it, because someone might go, I forgot about this bit of food, or whatever. Like, there's some really tasty...
Is it the Wheelstone rate?
The
Wheelstone rate?
Yeah. He's listening.
You got no fans.
If anyone points out, well, you missed the bacon. Well, it's not a significant scene. He gets shoved some bacon in his face. It looks pretty crispy. It looks pretty good. I'd eat it. You'd probably eat it. We've mentioned it now.
When does that happen?
It's when he wakes up after the first time, I think it's after the Chris Evans bit, where he's trying to tell him that he needs to tell her, Wallace is trying to tell him that you need to tell Ramona that you love her, and he goes, lesbians? When he's doing the thing.
I had so many of those, so many great lines in this film, because he gets confused, doesn't he? He says, you need to tell Ramona the L word, he means love, and Scott Pilgrim says, lesbians? And then later in the film, when he wants to make his big dramatic declaration of love for her, he says, Ramona, I'm in lesbians with you. And she's like, what? Of course he means I'm in love with you. But there are like a bunch of lines like that. The one that absolutely creases me every time is whenever he gets into a kind of an awkward social situation, there are a couple of times when it kind of flashes into his skull and it does like a kind of a Wheel of Fortune style thing with his potential responses. And there's a time when it gets stuck between I got to pee and something like I just met her or something, and then his response is I got to pee on her. He gets the two mixed up.
I do love it. I also like the fact that throughout he just uses the term like, because it's all like all the terminology is like it's cool, it's awesome, it's rad. It's like that they are words that are used a lot over and over and over again in it. He uses for the email that gets off Patel at the beginning, it's just like, this is boring. He just like deletes it, like, which is like pretty much what a lot of people do with, like, it's just like an inner monologue that a lot of people do when they're looking at emails, but he just goes, boring, and just gets rid of it, even though it's clearly like a threatening email that's very specific about...
It ramps up attention, doesn't it? Because you're getting flashes on the screen that says battle to the death.
Yeah.
And there's like a crescendo of like strings playing. It's like,
yeah.
And you think he's going to say, oh my God, I'm going to get killed. He goes, this is boring. Delete.
Yeah, it's got a weird ebb and flow to it as this film, but it's on purpose. So all those people you were saying that reviewed it badly back in the day just clearly didn't get
This
what
is
it was
like,
going at.
we haven't really talked much about the filmmaking devices, but like Edgar Wright, if you were in any kind of filmmaking, like I say, from home movies, like up to, even if you do like amateur, films and stuff, you'll love Edgar Wright movies because you see so much of the art in them, because there's so much, the comedy is visual and timing and pacing based. Like, if he's not doing something with it, there's very rarely points in that film where the camera's static.
Yeah.
There's like, he does like a lot of crash zooms and stuff that you actually see a lot of. They're really simple devices. And actually, after this film, you saw a lot of that being used in YouTube.
Yeah.
There is really simple transitions that he does, which make it interesting, which you could see people just nick and use on YouTube. But yeah. I thought we didn't really do any technical discussion.
We didn't really.
But,
the thing is, we've only got a
now.
limited amount of time. We literally tried to stuff a very, very short bit of food into this one.
All you
Just
stuffed
for us to talk.
to you was always fucking garlic bread.
And yeah, we missed pizza as well. There's a lot of pizza eating in this. They go to a place called Pizza.
We can't not discuss as well. Why in God's name do they all sleep in the same bed? It's like fucking Willy Wonka. You've got like four. You got a guy
That's
who's
a joke, innit?
Well, I guess it's a joke, but you've got a guy who's in a relationship with his boyfriend.
Yep.
And in that bed sleeps Michael Cera, and sometimes I think there's 4 dudes.
He has like a threesome. It's just a joke in it that he's clearly like so down on his luck that he's just sharing a bed with his gay best friend or whatever.
But I feel like there was plenty of space in that place. You could have slept separately,
be like in the corner near the PC or something like that, in a sleeping bag or anywhere,
like a little dog basket or
I
whatever.
think it's just to make it awkward and weird, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to mention about the pizza stuff, and it's annoying because I was going to say there isn't enough places in the UK where you can just grab a slice. Like in America, you can go grab a slice. Not as many. Belgrave that we mentioned earlier, you can do.
Oh, fuck Belgrave.
Yeah, but it's pretentious and expensive. But actually, when I was in said retail chain earlier, they have started doing slices of pizza as part of their meal deal. So, yeah, that was one of my sort of things I was going to point out. And yeah, it's pointless. So yeah, I don't think, is there any other food that we've missed?
I don't think so.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean, we could probably spend another hour talking about Scott Pilgrim if you wanted to.
I could talk about this movie forever, but I'm on like 300 calories or something today, so I'm starting to like,
see
my posture's suffering.
Going.
I'm just going to collapse into the mic like,
Right, okay then. With that being said, because I don't want you to collapse into the mic, because that would be very bad, we will go to the outro.
Yes, let's do that.
And that is episode 9.
Quite appropriate. Having discussed Scott Pilgrim, we have now, as pilgrims, reached the end of our journey.
What, is this it? The podcast is over now? Or do you mean like this
Well,
episode?
that one was a bit of a catastrophe, so I mean, if nobody comes back, I'll take partial blame.
Just need you to mention that you're waiting for me again on another video that's like 20 minutes long.
Yeah, that was right then too.
Yeah, pretty impressive there. Those numbers. Yeah, thanks again for everyone that's joined us. And I guess if you know someone that wants to listen to us, we are available on all podcast platforms, all of them. Every single one. I dare you to try and find one that we're not on, and if you do, just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. But yeah, if you find us on your favourite podcast provider, or you only listen to one episode, and you fancy listening to more, or you listen to this one, it's the first one. I don't really know what I'm getting at here, but find us, follow, subscribe, listen. You'll have a great time, or maybe you won't. I don't know.
Go listen to the Inglourious Basterds one. We fucking peaked there, man.
You say that every week, which makes it sound like we're getting better progressively.
No, because we've gone down quite significantly. I think since that was the peak, and now I think it's...
Don't listen to him. But if you want to give us a review, which would really help. So as I mentioned before, that Apple Podcasts, we've shot up the rankings thanks to all you lovely people listening to us. So we got up to 8th place in TV and films. That's not even a subcategory. That is the head category for TV and film.
I'm trying to be excited. I don't really understand too much about podcasts, so that
it's like
sounds good.
It's like the music chart. It's like you know that song that you keep mentioning.
Oh, that was number 8 too. That's like some kind of fucking
sign.
Illuminati shit.
We want to be number 8 again next week. So if you can tell more of your friends to listen to the podcast, and if you can, just go on Apple Podcasts. Just give us a review. A nice review though, a 5-star review. We won't accept any less.
Well, like I say every week, if it's a funny 2-star review, I'm happy to read it.
Don't do that because it'll tank us. Send us a tweet with your 2-star review. But if you want to give us a real review, give us a nice, lovely 5 stars.
Yeah, can I do a thing again where I kind of make a plea for some engagement on with me on Twitter with the Movie Mouthfuls podcast Twitter. I don't run that, but if anyone wants to,
I wonder who runs that.
To suggest anyone wants to suggest a film or a movie, same thing, feature film that we cover again, I'd like to see it.
We've had a couple, so I've added them to the list, and we've obviously there's quite a lot of very, very famous films that we still haven't even got to yet. So if you think, for example, why haven't they done the Godfather scene yet, or the Goodfellas one in prison? We know we're aware of them, but if you think there's one that's a bit more niche that we might not have got, or for example, if one of those is your favourite, so if you really, really do want us to do like Goodfellas next episode or whatever, if you let us know, because we're gonna have to strap ourselves in because those films are very long.
Send us a barrage, an absolute barrage of pleas to do those.
And we'll do them. And thank you for the people that have tweeted us and given us suggestions, because they have gone on the list, and we will get round to them because we have to keep making episodes.
Yeah, this is like more fun than making videos for me now. So like I have to thank all the people that have listened, because it's a lot of. It doesn't sound like fun just being strapped in a room, being locked in a room with the film fellow over here, talking nonsense about films. But it's actually been quite refreshing for me.
I'm a bit of your vacay time, your downtime between filming, where you can
my
let
side
loose.
hoe.
Yeah, you are
My side hoe.
it's almost like therapy, isn't it? I guess I could be like your therapist.
Yeah, I suppose.
Film therapy, but not like the actual film therapy that they use on people in like Guantanamo. Like nice film therapy.
We always end up. We go into a tangent.
We
and
go
it
on
goes
a weird
into a really
tangent in these
dark
outros.
place.
Yeah, it doesn't. We have to sweep back around.
Enough about Guantanamo Bay. Let's get back to finishing this show up.
Okay, but if you do want to tweet us, then, or you want to find us, a lot of you have joined the Facebook channel, which is the one that I never thought anyone would really join. So thank you again.
How we doing on Instagram?
We are on Instagram as well. So we're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you just search for @MovieMouthfuls. Twitter is where I'm probably more prevalent, but I will start posting stuff on Facebook, because it seems all of you have gravitated over to Facebook. Nothing wrong with that. I'll start sharing on there as well. You can find myself over at @thefilmfella_ if you want to just find out what I'm doing. Usually at the moment, because I haven't really done any of my own what I'm trying to do on YouTube under The Film Fella. If you would like to go check that out, there's some stuff there. But because I haven't done anything yet, I kind of use The Film Fella on Twitter as my sort of outlet for when I go see films at the moment. So like I did a lot about telling people should go check out The Suicide Squad recently because it's really good. Saw Free Guy last week. So if you want to just find out the inner workings of my brain in regards to film, then you can follow me on there, and I will start putting that on YouTube at some point.
He's also on OnlyFans, naked, eating tons of garlic bread.
OnlyFans is getting taken down soon. I don't know.
Wrong. They reneged on it. They sussed out that a lot of the revenue comes from adult content, so they're stopping that now. So you can still do it.
Was that not obvious already?
Yeah, I'm banking on that. Like when YouTube starts to tank, I'm gonna start doing some erotic stuff.
Oh wow!
Stay tuned.
Oh dear, you're letting all the information go at you on this podcast. So if people don't listen to it, they're missing out on quite a lot of Beard Meets Food content here. Really.
Hey, fuck, is this what he's like in real life?
Oh no. Beard, I'm guessing a lot of you did probably come from Beard mentioning us, so you already know about him. But if anyone is listening and have stumbled across, because we were on the iTunes chat, woo! Beard Meets Food. He's everywhere. He don't like saying it, which is why I'm saying it. I would normally let him say his own socials, but he just, clackety clack into...
So your homework this week is, instead of watching my video on Thursday, go watch Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, that would be. And then watch one of my videos if you want.
Let me know what you think about it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but definitely watch Scott Pilgrim if you've not watched it. Or even if you have watched it before, go watch it. That is your homework. Send us some quotes. That'd be fun, wouldn't it, if people just start quoting us. I guess I was going to mention, so if anyone fancies sending us any questions, or you've got anything you want to say, or if you want to be on the podcast, if you have something you want to really mention to us, you can email us at moviemouthfuls@gmail.com. You can also tweet or DM us or whatever. That might be easier, but if you want to be more formal, you can email us. Turns out we've had a couple of emails, Beard.
Get the heck out of town.
I know. He nearly fell off.
I actually nearly just did fall off.
He tried a bit of acting, tried to pretend like he was going to fall off his chair, and nearly did, which was quite entertaining. But yeah, so we got an email this week. You'll get the reference, by the way. So an email from an app called Wisdom. The guy that emailed me, his name was Jonathan Davis. Do you know why that's significant to me and why it came up in my emails as Jonathan Davis for Movie Mouthfuls? And I was like, no way. And then I clicked on it, and obviously it's this guy trying to get us to be a top mentor on wisdom.
And I'm just disappointed it's not normal wisdom. No, why is that? Why is it relevant?
Jonathan Davis is the lead singer of Korn. So I was like, no, it can't be him.
It's quite a ubiquitous name, though. Jonathan David. Probably like 30% of the people in Wales.
It's kind of where my brain just immediately went to, and I was like, oh, is this one of the people that watches Beard's channel in secret? And we've now got an email from like the lead singer of Korn.
The guitarist from Cradle of Filth does.
What, Danny Filth? Oh no, Danny Filth's a singer, isn't he?
Richard Shaw.
All
That's
right.
his real name, I think.
Oh, he watches your videos.
Shout out to you, mate, if you're watching. I keep saying to him, like, the next song I do at Christmas, I might get him to guest guitar on it. It might be a bit too heavy, though.
Do it. I'd love it. Just do it for me. Speaking of doing it for me, because he hates it when I say this, but if you want to support the podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/moviemouthfuls if you wish to do so. You can give us some English pennies towards...
If I just go onto Patreon and I send you 100 quid, will you stop asking people?
I'm just trying to build a community of, they help us, we grow, and we do things, and all the money will go back.
If you want to
into the
help
podcast.
us, get on Twitter and tell us what you want us to watch.
That would help more than anything, but... I'm just trying to be professional.
Save your pennies to rent Scott Pilgrim. It's actually no, don't. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Pay for your Netflix subscription. As always, big thanks to Lee for the music on the pod. And before Beard goes to sleep, we will be back very soon with another episode. But until then, remember that bread does not make you fat. It's all about how you eat it and how you sort of do all your calories and whatnot, as Beard said. So,
and if you get into an awkward social situation and you don't know how to answer a question, don't respond by telling the person you peed on another person.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not great. See you in a bit.
We kind of harmonised on that one.
Yeah, let's try again. See you in a bit.
Peace. Fuck, that was long. This must be 40 minutes long. Jesus.
17 seconds.
I'm like a fucking husk. I'm sweating spinal fluid here.